I do is I have a seller, I pre-qualify the seller before I go on the listing appointment, right? So just like you're going to pre-qualify a buyer when you go to show them properties, people don't pre-qualify the sellers either. So would you show a buyer a property if they're not willing to talk to a lender or get a pre-approval letter? Well, no, right? So same thing should happen with sellers. So I always call them about an hour or so before the meeting and I have a quick few questions with them. One of the questions that I try to get through is, what do you like about your house so much that caused you to buy it? Because chances are the next buyer is going to do the same exact thing. So instead of us searching for that reason that someone's going to buy it, tell me why you buy yours, why you bought this house, and I'll do my best to educate the buying public on that exact, feature. Let's say it's a big oak tree in the backyard. Let's say it's huge archways when you walk in. Let's say it's a double vaulted ceilings and living room. Whatever it caused you to really pull the trigger on this house, let me know that, please, and ask them that question, right? That's
Okay.
one question. And then the other question is, um, are you prepared to work with me today if everything say makes sense? Something like that. If we meet today and everything makes sense and I can show you the value that you're going to get working with Cityside and me, are you prepared to list today? And it's okay if they say yes or no.
Okay.
Obviously, you want yes. And then you'll ask them that question again, and you'll go over any of these seller objections. You'll kind of isolate that objection, overcome that objection, and then again ask for the sale right there at the listing appointment. So anyway, when you go in, you walk in to meet them. Let's say they said they bought this house because of the huge oak tree in the backyard. That's going to be one of the first things you're going to point out when you walk into the property, because what it's going to do is going to be like, even if they forgot that they told you that, it's just going to build immediate rapport. And you're going to find common ground because you also like that oak tree, and that's the same reason she bought the house. So you're going to walk in and be like, whoa, do you see that oak tree in the front yard? That is phenomenal. And they already like you, right? Because that's the whole reason they bought the damn house. Anyway,
Yeah.
walk in and start getting them to say yes right off the bat. Get them in the mindset. You're going to, I don't know
Get
another
them in the
word.
habit of saying
Get
yes
them
to
to
you.
have a saying yes, kind of have their mindset change. So you're going to say, I'm going to put my things down here, right here at this table. Is that okay? Yes. Okay, great. And then I always like to start the front of the house, so I can get, really a good flow of the house from the eyes of a buyer. Does that sound good to you? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll kind of tour you through the house real quick, just so I can get an idea of the flow of everything. Sound good? Yes. And then you start, right? You walk in and you start selling the house to them by pointing out random features. It doesn't matter. Say, oh, I love the granite here, and man, this is a big open kitchen, and oh, this is master down. That's great. Or primary bedroom downstairs. That's pretty awesome. Love the backyard. Walk through here. Okay. Take down some notes as you're going through. Doesn't matter. You can put, hope the Bills win the Super Bowl this year in your notepad. Doesn't matter. They need to
Yeah.
have, they need to think you're just taking, detailed notes on it. Take them upstairs, show off. I mean, do your best to show off the house and kind of sell it to them so they can get an idea of what, you're capable of when you start showing buyers, right?
Hmm.
That should only take 3 to 4 minutes. Don't get caught up. Don't tour the house for 20 minutes. You want to be in and out of that appointment in really 30, 45 minutes.
And while you're walking through the house, if you see anything that's like a little tiny touch up that would cost them $5 but save them a huge, inspection, like little cracks in the corners or little things that someone might go, oh my gosh, there's foundation issues, but it was just really something small and cosmetic. Point that out to them and say, we know that it's not a big deal, but for a buyer, they're going to ask for $5,000, and I want to have you spend the least amount of money, but get the most amount of money back. That way, they're already like liking you before you even sit down and pitch them.
Okay.
Okay, so you're walking through and be like, okay, you're finished. Phenomenal house. We're gonna meet right over here where I drop my stuff off. That sound good. Even if they're gonna say yes again, and if you want to continue to get them to say yes, ask for a glass of water. Say, do you mind if you have a bottle of water, a glass of water, real quick? I just want to, clear my throat, kind of thing. And they're gonna say yes, and then they're already used to taking orders from you. And I know this sounds crazy, but it works. It's all mindset. And they're gonna be like, yeah, I'll grab you a glass of water, no problem. And then, okay, they give you the glass of water, and then you open up, You either, like I said, open up your laptop or iPad or or open up this in a PDF, or just even have it printed in a PDF if you want. And you're going to start going through the process after you've, showed and toured the home to them.
And you can tell them this is the same process that we use, that
No,
our
it'll-
team has used.
Yeah, no, we'll get there.
You're awesome.
But yeah, so anyway, I'll change this and go to, open it page 1, right? This is going to say,
Okay.
this is right here is obviously going to be your picture. It's going to be, you are going to be like the owner of Cityside. They don't care. Jeff and Amanda are nowhere in here. They're going to think that you run this company because that's what we needed to think. So, right off the bat, Joe English is I'm the lead listing specialist for my team. When you hire me, you're going to hire a group of 9 licensed real estate agents and a full-time staff led by me, Joe. We're brokered by EXP. It's a tech brokerage. We've been a top team in Houston. I'll change that either in Texas or I could do Texas. I don't know about Corpus, but again, you can say we're a top
10
team, top 10 team. Last 5 years per many outlets, one of them being the Houston Business Journal. We sell hundreds of homes a year since 2015, and our listing. What are you doing?
I have to cough. I don't know how to mute it.
No, you can cough.
Sorry.
Our listing process is designed to sell your home for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. Does that sound great? And they're gonna say yes.
Yes, it does.
Right? See, yours computer doesn't work.
Got
So,
you.
you see what I'm saying?
If it's on your computer, you can like drag the pages. And
Yeah, hers computer's not working. But anyway, hopefully you can see this stuff.
Uh,
But before we get started, I want to ask a few questions.
yeah, I can see it.
Why are you moving? And Joe, if you could just be the seller for me. So Joe, why are you moving?
I'm just looking for something a little bit smaller. The kids are out of the house now.
Oh, great. And how soon do I need to get you there?
Well, we would like to move into a new house. We'll have this one sold and move into a new house within the next 45 days.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, let's get you there. So, how many agents have you interviewed so far, and what are you looking for in your real estate agent? Again, doesn't matter, Joe. What you say.
You're the first one.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Okay.
Well,
I was gonna say 50, but you're the first one. So.
But he's getting you to open up right now. He knows
I'm just opening
your
up. We're
motivation.
chatting. We're doing
Yeah.
stuff like that. And
Right.
Joe, do you anticipate any major challenges with selling this home, or not really?
Not really.
Yeah, no. Okay. So again, I'm just asking this information because it's going to help me determine the best course of action to go through when we actually sell your home. So again, I think I asked you this over the phone, but just to reiterate, what drew you to this home when you bought it?
The neighborhood. My wife grew up in this neighborhood, so and her parents used to live around the corner, so we were all close.
Well, great, man. Well, chances are the reason that you bought this house will be the same reason that the next buyer will buy it. So what I'm going to do is really show off the neighborhood, show off the neighborhood park, show off how close it is to the school, kind of do everything I can to really sell the neighborhood, and the house is a plus, right? So that's what we're going to do here at Cityside. So again, when we sell your home, you're going to downsize, and you want to be there in 45 days. So I'm going to do that for you. And you already told me what you loved about the neighborhood is you have family in here, and it's has a pool and everything like that, neighborhood pool and everything. So a little bit, let's dig into that a little bit more. What are some nearby attractions and amenities that you really love about your neighborhood?
Well, there's a lot. It's like close to the highway, so we get on the highway when we want to go shopping and things like that.
Oh, great.
And
So
the
good
school,
location, basically.
good school
Cool.
system in this area.
Well, great. So I want to make sure I feature those, those things on the thousands of websites we're going to put your property on. Does that sound great?
Okay. Yes.
And if anything, what don't you like about your house or your neighborhood?
It's the neighborhood is getting a little younger. I think
Okay.
I'm older, so I just want to,
Sure. So what I'm going to do, regardless of what they say here, Joe, I'm going to say we're going to shy away from those items. Most agents are going to come in here and they're going to sell you on themselves, and they're going to sell you on getting a sign in the yard. They're not even going to think about what things we should specifically market and what things we should shy away from. I'm sure that makes sense. Okay, so I'll let you know a little bit about the not so perfect listing, or let's call it the not so perfect listing agent. So many realtors are listed and quit it. I call them agents. They want signs in yards. They don't have any marketing plan or even a marketing budget to ensure your home sells in the quickest amount of time for the most amount of money. So what you want to do is kind of shy away from people that are just basically you are telling them how to list the property. You are giving them ideas on marketing, things like that. If that starts to happen during the listing process or the conversations, that's definitely not the agent for you. So the perfect listing agent is exactly someone like Cityside Properties or Cityside Corpus. That we've designed a strategic listing process that's been proven to outperform the market, sell quicker, and continue to earn us repeat business and referrals. That leads us to hundreds of house sales every year. So I want to kind of explain why we're the best team for you. Go ahead, Amanda.
Do you have the links? Is that where you would put the links?
Oh, we'll skip that because it's not interactive.
We used to, and I guess it's not interactive, but we used to have an MLS like clip. And so it would be like one of those cookie cutter, not everything's filled out listings with someone who took pictures from their phone and be like, you don't really know until you're on the market and it's too late that your agent's going to do this. And then we have a picture of our listings and how like you hired professional photos, everything was filled out. There's comments on all the pictures.
Yeah, and it's not hard to incorporate into this presentation because I've already, like I said, I've already outlined it, did all the hard work. So if you plan on doing it on a laptop or an iPad, what you need to send to me is just a shitty listing. It could be a nice house, it's just a crappy listing. And I'll share that link within this presentation. And it'll open up and it'll go to it and you'll say, this is this kind of stuff I'm trying to steer you away from. If you notice, they didn't even fill out, there's 250 different options to click on MLS. They filled out maybe half of them. There's no photo descriptions. There's nothing really about the neighborhood. The photos are crap. Like this is what I want to kind of really scare you into using the best agent kind of deal. So, and then I'll show you one of my listings and then you would open up one of our listings. And our listings will have, photo comments. It'll have 50 something HD photos. It'll have virtually staged empty rooms. It'll have a Matterport 3D tour connected with it. It'll have a landing page where it's going to verify and grab people's information so we can, make those inquiries into contracts for you. And you'll kind of go through your listing and tell you what the biggest difference is between your listing and then the not so perfect listing. That's if you want to make this interactive, or I can add some slides to it. Doesn't matter. So you just kind of show them. So, but today I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why we're the best team for you, and then give you 3 examples of why, that would make sense for you to go with Cityside Properties. So today you're going to hire, you see how I said that, Joe? Today you're going to hire an entire team of licensed agents working towards the same goal. I'm sure you're asking, why is that important? Well, there's 3 reasons. We have scripted team members. Our agents are trained to take inquiries on your home, turn those inquiries into showings, and turn those showings into contract for our sellers. We have a full-time staff. A full-time staff gives us another set of eyes for all of us to ensure contracts are in acceptance with the Texas Real Estate Commission. Contract stipulations are both met from both sides. Basically, all our I's are dotted, all our T's are crossed. And you're not looking for one agent just to handle all the things that an agent should handle. When you hire me, you're hiring, like I said, team members and a full-time staff. Another good thing for you, Mr. Seller, is we sell over 200 homes a year. That ensures that there really isn't anything that we'll come across during the sale of your home that we haven't already seen 5 to 10 times. And we already know the exact steps to take to ensure a smooth closing. Does that make sense? All right. And I don't like saying, does that make sense? What's another?
I don't like it either.
No. What's another? I'm just going through this like live. Does that make sense? Wouldn't you agree? Something like that? Yeah. Wouldn't you agree? Or isn't that great, Joe? That we've already seen everything, just something like that, a little bit more positive. I'm just critiquing myself.
Because it's really easy to get a house under contract, but then you've got all these contingencies and exclusions and appraisals and inspections. And, just like you're saying, you're working with a FSBO, and getting it under contract is the easy part these days. It's everything afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we'll move on here. So another reason we're the best team for you is we have professional photos. We do 3D tours. We do virtual staging. And there's 3 really reasons why that's important, that your agent does that. So for one, we're going to get more views online. I can't even see that. Professional marketing photos result in up to about 90% more views online. And that's where you're going to get about 99% of the buyers that they're going to see that house there for the first time. So nobody enjoys the sight of empty houses or empty rooms or anything like that. So virtual stages is included, and that's something that we invest our money into on all vacant listings or even vacant rooms for that matter. What that's going to do is that's going to result in qualified showings. And qualified showings versus, just nosy neighbors are going to save you a lot of time, a lot of money. So when buyers see your house using our Matterport technology, or they see it using our, 3D virtual staging and things like that, you're basically going to get more clicks and more views online, resulting in qualified buyers only seeing your house. They're there basically just to confirm what they've already seen online. They've seen every inch of your house via our 3D Matterport tour. So,
and once you know that family, you can pitch it. Like, so if you know that they have an older person or they have dogs or they have kids, you can say, because I'm doing all these details and I'm showing everything, you're not going to have to pack up the kids and pack up the dog and move grandma for a showing just to have someone walk through and go, oh, I didn't realize there's not a half bath on the first floor. We don't want it. We're going to save you time and avoid that.
Yeah, we're going to avoid that. And like I said, the reason I'm kind of explaining this to you is because a lot of agents don't even think about this kind of stuff. So, so when having 3D tours and having virtual staging, what's going to happen is it's going to result in about 160% more clicks and more, views online than properties without 3D tours and virtual staging. And what that does for us is just cast another net to catch a buyer, if you will. We're going to have 160% more views. And that's where the majority, if not everyone's going to see your house for the first time. And then another thing that we're going to do is to ensure that we're doing agent to agent marketing. So about 89% of homes sales last year actually involved another real estate agent. And that tells me a pretty important stat. I need to market to the agents that are educating the buyers. Not only the buyers, obviously with good photos and things like that, but I need to reach out to these agents, educate these buyers. So about 2 weeks, I put days. I'll fix that. About 2 weeks before we go live on MLS, I'm going to send this to realtors that have been active in your marketplace. They may have a buyer, especially in this market, they probably have a buyer that missed out on an opportunity in this same neighborhood. And I'm going to find that before we even go, I'm going to find those buyers before we even go to MLS. So I'm going to start the ball, get the momentum moving, et cetera, et cetera. And before we even go on MLS, we're going to have a line of people that are interested in your house. Does that sound good, Joe? Right?
Yes.
And other realtors love that off-market opportunity or coming soon. You get to have first dibs, especially because it's so competitive. And so creating that momentum of that, hey, I've got something off-market. Agents love sharing that with their clients.
Yeah.
Just use this little thing. It's crazy. We almost have the same computer, but they're so different.
That's so crappy.
So I can tell a lot of what Jeff is saying is just experience the way he's flowing. This is something I'm definitely going to have to practice on.
Dude, read this to your wife. Call me and read it to me. Hey, Jeff, you got 5 minutes for a listing presentation? I'm like, yep, lay it on me, Joe. Like just kind of go with it. You don't want to stumble on this stuff during the appointment, right?
Right.
And a lot of this is things that you already do as an agent. Like we'll go over like showing time, for example, or taking professional photos, but most agents don't take the time to explain that they actually do it and why it's important and how it's going to save them time. So just taking those few minutes to really say, this is what I do and this is why I bring value. And you'll see like he says, invest a lot or value a lot. I invest in professional photos, or you bring value for this. And so by the end of it, like I said, price doesn't matter when there's lots of value.
Yeah, we're saying things like invest. We're saying things like when we sell your home, when I get your house under contract, when I get you to your new neighborhood. I'm just kind of having a mindset shift where they've been telling me yes all day. They even got me a damn glass of water.
Their motivation.
They're motivated. You're just kind of having a mindset shift with them. So the last, these are just, highlights, but we do a lot more than this. But another big thing and why we're the best team for you is online web presence. We do social media advertising and we do targeted website ads. Again, why is that important? There's 3 reasons why this is pretty important. At Cityside, we invest in listing syndication services. So international listing syndication places your home on over an additional 600 websites which is on average 6 times more than the average agent who's only utilizing the MLS. These sites include international websites that bring us additional buyer funnels. Basically, it casts a much wider net in order to catch a buyer. So I'll give you a quick example on this. I had a property out in Corpus that someone made a full price cash offer day one. I thought it was fraud. I reached out to them. I said, did you see our listing on HAR? And they said, they don't know what HAR is. I said, oh, you must have seen it on realtor.com. And they said, well, we don't know what that is. We saw it on fang.com. And that told me that my listing syndication worked. They saw my listing in, I think it was China.
Japan.
Japan.
It was their local MLS.
Yeah, they saw my listing in Japan. And basically, long story short, this buyer was about to get taxed by the government 50% unless they got their cash out of their account. So they just need to buy my house, right? So that's just an example of why listing syndications and why we invest into that for you.
There were only 7 houses in that city on their local MLS, and mine was one of them because we work with a tech company and they pay for listing syndication.
Right. So it's a big, important reason that why we invest into that. So again, that's going to bring us other streams of buyers. In addition to that, our social media advertisements are really key in maximizing the exposure for your home that we can actually contain or attain on the internet. So this gives us yet another stream of buyers coming in contact with your house, allowing us to turn those buyers into contracts for the sellers. So when we invest into social media advertising, we also invest into targeted ads that really just sell your home. We have found different algorithms and things through social media that people are looking for houses in your neighborhood, and we hone in on those people and we ensure that our listing is in front of those people. They can go to Yahoo News and just want to check on the news and they'll see your listing. They can go to their social media and then they'll scroll down and they'll see our listing. They can go to many websites and all of a sudden, for some reason, just like that shoe that you looked at on Nike.com is now in your social media. You saw that same shoe in your social media account, right? We do the same things for your house. So if you've ever kind of shopped or even kind of creepy, even talked about, buying a refrigerator and you kind of shopped around online, I guarantee that you see refrigerators when you go to some of your social media outlets. That's not coincidental. Those people are doing the same thing that we're doing. We're targeting the people that are interested in whatever product we're selling. So that's a big deal. And that's another, investment that we make on your behalf. So the last investment is showing time services. So this service we pay for allows us to track showings. It demands feedback, allows us to overcome the buyer's objections. And most importantly, we can discover the buyer's motivation immediately after the showing. So if there's any hesitations on that buyer, yeah, I like the house, didn't really love the yard or whatever, kind of whatever they say, we're going to call and kind of help overcome those objections, kind of get them to, make a move on the property. But in addition to that, we know who's coming in your house, when they're leaving, who was with them, and things like that. So this is another reason we use showing time services. Isn't that great, Joe?
Yes, it is.
Right.
Don't you want to know who's in your house?
Yeah. Don't you want to know?
Exactly.
Do you want to know who's in your master bedroom? Oh, sorry. Primary bedroom. Sorry. 2021 here. Okay. So this is just a little bit about my business. I've done my best to show you my value proposition. I think you'll agree that we're the best agent for you, but a little bit more about me and our business. In 2017, Joe, I was named the most influential realtors in Texas, one of the top 100 most influential realtors in Texas. In 2018, we're actually ranked as the number 8 team in Houston Business Journal with over 60 million in sales. In 2019, we sold over 230 homes and we were ranked as the number 8 team in Houston. And in 2020,
yeah, I've had that happen twice so far.
My computer doesn't do it. In 2020, during the pandemic, we were ranked by Houston Business Journal as another top team producing in Houston. And don't take my word for it. Here's the reviews and recognitions. There's 3 links. You're going to see in those links that there are multiple reviews from multiple past clients. You're going to see an ad in the Houston Business Journal that kind of lets you know that we're a legitimate company. And then multiple, again, click on these links and just review them.
Joe, you could mention, I know that a lot of this is Houston, but the systems that we use are so great and duplicatable that we now use them here.
Well, no, I'm not. All this stuff was going to be changed to Corpus. Doesn't matter. They're not going to look at this crap. They're going to think, well, this isn't, I'm just going to change the word Houston to Texas. It's simple.
But if it ever comes up, it's a simple, repeatable process that we apply to any city in the States, and it works.
Yeah, if they look up Houston and they see that, if they look up Cityside and they see we're in Houston, say it's a proven, repeatable process. We're in multiple cities. We're in San Antonio, we're in Austin, we're in Dallas, we're in Corpus. It's all the same. So,
but you're local. Remind them, I'm local. I live here. This is my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'm backed by Cityside.
So pricing is key. Really, much of the marketing for your house starts today when we agree on a price. So just to kind of let you know, like I said, we sell hundreds of homes a year, and the best marketing in the entire world will never sell an overpriced home. And let's talk about a little pricing on your property here. So I'm going to go over a market analysis for you, and then kind of explain the research I've done before I got here today. So what we're going to talk about is in comparable homes from all real estate agents, from all brokers, and even off-market activity we pull to ensure that we price your home correctly. So we check the public records in addition to the MLS. And just to let you know, the best measure of value is a sold listing. Well, I'm not going to price your property based on active comparable properties. I don't know what properties are under contract for when they're pending. The only way to price your property correctly is to value the sold listings. And we're going to talk about those sold listings today. Any active listings that you'll see is simply going to demonstrate supply, and it's going to demonstrate the competition that we may have, right? So I may even show you today some withdrawn or expired listings, because most often those withdrawn, expired, terminated listings are simply overpriced listings. And we don't want to be even near the range of those. We don't want to touch that. The market has already shut those down, and I don't want to make a mistake by not having my research complete. So let's discuss pricing your house today. So all these properties we're going to talk about are less than a half a mile or 1.5 miles from your home. It's the last 6 months of activity. It has very comparable features: square footage, beds, baths, lot size, and upgrades. And yes, price is important. And there's probably 20 different things that I look at when I price a property, but the most important is price per square foot. That tells you it's not it's a value that's already been determined by multiple buyers in the market. So I can tell you right now, I have a phenomenal marketing plan, but I can't tell you that I can create a market for you. So we cannot overlist a property. We can't do any of that kind of stuff, or we're going to be one of these withdrawn, expired, terminated listings, and you're not moving to the new neighborhood and I'm not getting paid, right? So I don't want to do that. So today we're going to talk about pricing the property correctly. And then Joe, right here, you're going to go over your CMA with them. You're just going to pause. You're going to go over the properties with them. What I would do is, I found, be like super prepared. Just say, there's 15 active properties in your subdivision. 9 of those, there's 15 active. There's 7, pending. And then there's another 7 sold. So I've already pulled up all that information, and let's go over it with you. And then Joe, if you can, find the 3 or 4 solds and explain to those solds to them and why, and get them to tell you why that property is a very similar property to theirs. So you'll say, okay, this one sold. Wow, actually across the street. Did you know these people? Oh yeah, that's Joe and Susan. They sold last week. Well, they sold, looks like they sold for $110 a square foot. And then this property over here, it's actually 2 streets away. Very similar features. They have a little bit more updates, but they sold at $115 a square foot. They just sold a couple months ago. Wouldn't you think that's a pretty comparable property? And they'll say yes or whatever. And it looks like this one, yeah, because that one only sold for $95 a square foot. So if we average those all together, that's about $105 a square foot. So that's really where we're going to start, and we're going to either add value to that or take away value from that based on the features of your house. So how big is your house, Joe? Let's say 3,000 square feet, right? Okay, so we're going to do 105, and I'm writing this out in front of them, Joe. We're going to do 105 times 3,000 square feet. It looks to be pricing your property at about $335,000. Is that the amount that you kind of expected to get? And then right then they've already agreed that those 3 properties are very similar, and you've simply just done the math for them. There's no emotion. There's no, I'm telling you what the price is. It's none of that. They're simply, you're simply, evaluating the market, getting them to choose the comps, doing some math and saying 335. So 335 times 105 is, 105 times 3,000 square feet is 335 grand. Now let's start there, right? How does that feel comfortable? If I got an offer today, would you take $335,000 for it? And they're going to say yes or no. If they say no, say why not? What is different about these other three properties that you think you can get more than that? Maybe I missed it, right? Let's talk about that. Let's really, because pricing is key, right? So we're going to start at 335, and it looks like those other two properties didn't have a pool, but yours did have a pool. So I bet that adds some value for sure. Not a ton, but it definitely adds some value. And you do some upgrades and stuff like that. If we were to list your property at 345,000 and you got a $335,000 offer, what would you think about that? Kind of get them comfortable with that stuff, and then stick. Say, okay, well, 345 works. And you've already done the math, Joe, before you showed up. 345 works. So it's not going to be a coincidence that it just so happens to be 345 when you walk into the door. You already know. You've already found the comps to support that. So if it's an expired listing, it's been on the market at 345 for 3 months, we may show them some lower price per square foot houses because we already know the market rejected their price. So when we pull up those comps and everything and show them and do the math in front of them, it's not going to be a coincidence that the numbers came out at 335. You're already going to know that. But to them, they're going to be like, okay, they assume that we found this value together. They're like, okay, well, and just kind of get them to agree price. Once they agree on a price, we're like, great. So let's do 345,000 listing. Okay, great. So here's a little, and just move on, right? Don't harp on it, because the biggest mistake is in a listing presentation, other than not showing value, is overpricing it. It's probably the biggest mistake. So you don't want to overprice it. So here's a little seller's roadmap for you. You're going to meet with a real estate professional. We just established a price. So now it's time to prepare your house. Once we list your home, we're going to get negotiations started and getting some offers. Once we go under contract, my entire staff will bring all the final details, and then we'll close and get you into that new subdivision. So really the next step is pretty easy, Joe. We already agreed on a price. Hopefully I've answered all your questions. And then now my staff is going to send you over the listing agreement. You're going to fill that out and sign all that. And then the seller's disclosure, here's a copy of it. Go ahead and fill that out for me. And when I come, and Joe, right here, I'm assuming I have the sale. I already assumed I have it. I'm not asking for it. I assume I have it. Here's the seller's disclosure. Fill that out. When I come back with my photographer, put the sign lockbox in, I'll grab that from you, upload it to MLS. The seller's disclosure I have to give to any prospective buyers. So go ahead and start filling that out. And then, like I said, my assistant's going to send over the listing documents. I'm going to schedule the photographer, and then we're going to set up our first open house. Does that sound good, Joe? Again, assuming the sale. So here's just something for you to leave you with, Joe. Really nothing is worse than hiring the wrong agent. And you really don't know you hired the wrong agent until it's too late. Until you see crappy photos, you see something, you're not getting any showings. There's something like that. So there's nothing more wrong than just hiring the wrong agent. So most agents, again, they just want signs and yards. You're going to tell them the price you want. You're going to tell them how to market the property. They're an order taker. That's not a listing agent. That's not a sales agent. That's someone that just wants properties and signs and yards. So if they hesitate and they don't know the answers to these questions about their business, I'll tell you right now, Joe, they don't run a business. They just have a hobby. So you're going to ask them these 3 questions to ensure that you choose the best agent. That's even if you're planning on hiring another agent, or even going forward with other, agent representation or whatever you want to do it. But just make sure they understand these 3 questions. And if they don't, again, they're not running a business. They have a hobby.
You might mention to them, because they don't think like realtors, you average 2.8 buyer leads from every listing sign that you have. And so a lot of times they just want, like he said, a sign in the yard, because they're going to get 2 or 3 buyers, whether or not your house sells. And for me, my goal is to sell your house too fast to where I don't even have time to get buyer leads off of it. And that's the goal, is you're the priority, not me getting more buyers.
Yeah. So if any other agent reach out to you, or if you want to meet with any other agents, feel free, but ask them these 3 questions. How many homes have they sold in the last 12 months? My answer is 253 homes in 2020. What is the average listings days on market for the past 6 months? My answer is 17. On average, I sell houses under contract in 17 days. And then what is your average list to sales price ratio? Mine's 98.9% over the last 5 years. So I'm outperforming the market by 2 or 3%. So that's the questions that you need to ask them. If they hesitate or they don't know those questions, they're not the right agent for you. Like, again, they're not running a business. They should know that. And Joe, the reason we're doing this is to completely, most agents aren't going to be prepared. These questions don't even matter. Most agents aren't going to be prepared for a seller to ask them those questions, right?
Yeah, what's your list?
Okay.
So when you meet with them and you give them all this stuff, and they have another appointment right after you, they're going to feel, almost like, I got this guy. I'm going to corner this guy. I'm empowered, right? I just met with Joe, and then, he's a killer, obviously, but let me ask this guy, and they're going to feel good. And then imagine sitting in a listing appointment, Joe, and they say, hey man, what's your average list to sales price ratio the last 5 years? What are you going to say, Joe? You're going to be like, oh shit. Like, what is that? Yeah. So it's going to make, so again, this is a dog eat dog world. It's going to make the other realtors they have an appointment with look like shit. So that's why this is the last page. This is for the seller's empowerment. This is why you need to lead the listing presentation with them, and et cetera. And then hopefully after the agents don't do near as a good job as you did, and then at the end of it, they struggle with these questions, they're calling Joe to list their property.
Okay. So these questions here are ones that will come up, or are they ones that
that's something that the seller should ask the agents if they're
should possibly? Okay. All right.
You're bringing it up to their attention.
You're bringing it to their attention, right? So it's going to make the other agent look bad because they're not going to know.
Right.
You're going to be like, how many?
So in my case,
they're going to say, how many houses? Hey, Mr. KW guy, how many houses have you sold in the last 12 months? And they're going to be like, let me see here. And they're going to stumble. They're like, well, I think it's like 15, 20, even 100, right? I think I sold about 100. Anyway, they're not going to know, most of them. And you're going to, and your answer's right there. My answer is 253 homes in 2020. I know exactly. Same thing with average listings days on market. What's your average? They're going to be like, they're not going to know. So you're just making them look bad, the other agents. Right. So that's why that was a tip from Renee Sorolla.
Okay. So in my case, I really don't have any. Well, I don't. It's more of a team. Should I kind of switch it from a personal to like a team type question answer?
You should never be in a personal mindset. It should always be, this is a Cityside Properties group.
Right.
You're hiring you're hiring our agents. You're hiring my staff.
My assistant's going to upload everything and oversee it.
It should never be personal.
They're hiring a team.
And it's okay. These numbers are legitimate. You can look them up. I got those numbers from MLS. So again, they're not, even if they're a little bit off, it doesn't matter. They're not going to look at that. They're not going to be like, well, let me see if you sold 250.
And you really are the systems that we use here. It's the exact same copy.
And and when you do it, especially if you're getting a full 5%, it's okay to invest into virtual staging. It's okay to invest into a 3D walkthrough Matterport tour. It's okay to invest in drone shots and things like that. Let's say you do all that stuff. It's probably $600-700, but you got 2% on $300,000 listings. You're going to have a marketing budget set aside to do that, and most agents don't.